Welcome, First Church in Jamaica, to our On the Front Lines discussions about the coronavirus crisis. We have been interviewing folks from Queens, folks who know in the community. Today we have a special video for you. I'm Reverend Dela Cruz, the Associate Pastor, and this is Angelina De La Cruz. She is a nurse at St. Peter's Hospital in New Brunswick, and she is also my mother. So happy Mother's Day.
Oh,
This will
thank
be airing
you.
on Sunday. Yeah. So she I'm just very grateful that she's willing to talk about her experience as a nurse in the ICU. So thanks, Mom.
Okay, you're welcome.
Why don't you start by telling folks a little bit about why you became a nurse in the first place and why you decided to go to America to do that?
Well, anyway, you probably know this. I told this several times. Well, we came in here in 1982. First of all, it's we in the Philippines. I grew up in a very poor country, and you always wish you have a better life. And I wish to help my parents, my siblings. So coming to America, especially as a nurse, is like a ticket. So I came here in 1982, and for almost 40 years, I mean, I graduated 1980, but I came in 1982. So for 38, almost 38 years, I've been working in the critical care area. And in doing so, besides my family and everything here, I was able to help my parents, able to send my siblings to school, and it's a big help. So pretty much that's why I became a nurse.
Yeah, and you came when there was a nurse shortage in the
Oh
country,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Actually, in 1982, there is a big shortage of nurses. Actually, the recruiter from Long Island College Hospital, she practically came physically to the Philippines in one of the agencies and interviewed us in the Philippines. That's how really desperate they are. So they came to us in the Philippines to recruit us because of the shortage. So it's since in the 80s, a lot of Filipino nurses migrate here to work.
In many ways, you served the country back then when there was a crisis of a nursing shortage, and now you're serving the country now in this huge crisis with COVID-19. Can you describe what the average night shift has been like for you? Because you work nights. What's the experience from, leaving the house to getting there, and then coming back home?
Actually, at the peak of the COVID crisis, that was probably the mid of March. That was really the first time, like coming to work and see the whole unit full of 30 patients. We usually have like 20 average. Now there's 30 patients full, and all patients are all on ventilators. Because we know right away, studying about the coronavirus, we know that most patients who are on a ventilator, it's like 80% to 20% of survival. So we knew right away that this is really like, we have to do this, even though we know that there's less chance of survival, but we have to do everything for them. And now that's the hard part is you have to prepare yourself too. You have to, it takes a lot of, preparing. You have to do the right thing. Like you put all your PPE, your personal protective equipment, because you have to take care of the patient, but at the same time you fear for yourself because you don't want to get the disease itself. So that's why you have to gown out and everything before you go inside. And the hard part also is knowing that these patients are very, very critical and in the midst of losing their lives. We have to contact the family also. And the only way the family could really see these patients is through FaceTime. They're not allowed to go to the units. They're not even allowed to go to the hospital because of this crisis. So the only contact they have is through FaceTime. And most of the time, the hard part is like, can you just hold my parents or my mom or my dad hands for me? Or can you kiss them for me, say goodnight, or say I love you for them? That's the hard part. And sometimes they even request for like the last rite or to see a priest. And the first time the COVID crisis, like the priest cannot even go inside right away, because by the time we got them, it's too late already. So they don't even receive that last sacrament of. But we have a deacon in the church because we're a Catholic hospital. So all he could do is like bless them with oil and pray briefly through the FaceTime also. It's not even like personally. And then with that gruesome, like most of the time, we have like in a given day, we have like 3 deaths out of those 30 patients. And not only in the unit, also in the hospitals itself, because sometimes they don't go to the unit because the family decided do not intubate them anymore or do not put them in a ventilator. So the whole hospital has a lot of deaths per night. And the hard part at nighttime, we don't have anybody to help us to bring those bodies in the morgue. It's like at one point, the morgue is so full. So we have to wait for somebody to put some of the bodies to the freezer, because there's a truck outside with a freezer. And so we could put the body in the morgue. That's really sad. That is really sad. And the thing is, we don't even have a chance to actually eat or drink because we don't want to remove our protection, because we're so scared, in the hospital. So it's really, really tough. It's really, really tough. And then when you go home, before you could go home, you have to remove everything, all your dirty clothes, your dirty stuff. And then you have to go to your car. You have to spray your car with Lysol and everything, your steering wheel. And then now you're finally removing your mask, and you could see all your markings and everything on your face. You look at the mirror, and it's like, and you cannot even touch your face, even though it hurts. So, and by the time you go home, you're tired for 14 hours, 15 hours sometimes. Then you cannot even go straight to your house. You have to protect your family. You have to make sure all your, everything is removed. You have to be in the garage, stay there. And then you have to, like Lysol yourself at least, That's really, really sad. But you have to, like, not inject Lysol, just spray Lysol on you. I'm sorry. I have to say that. I'm sorry.
No, that's well, we all know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You spray the Lysol so that you kill the germs. Okay. So
Yeah.
now you're so shaking and you're tired and you're really cold. Then you have to put a towel or a robe that is prepared for you by your family. And then you go upstairs, take a long shower, and then you eat your dinner and your breakfast. It's
Yeah.
really all at the same time. And everybody in your family, of course, they have to protect themselves too. They have to wear their mask all the time. They have to, it's really like a segregation, or
Hmm.
we're all quarantined actually. We're all have different rooms.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard when you're a nurse in a critical care, and then you have to really protect your family also. Even like if I sneeze a little bit, everybody's like running away from you. It's tough, but I understand, but it hurts sometimes because you're being alone all the time. you know
Hmm.
you cannot even like talk about your nights or your days. So you actually, and the nightmares, that's the worst part, Chris. The nightmares, I don't usually have nightmares, but every time you sleep, finally able to sleep, you have so much nightmares. And then it wakes you up. You sleep 1 hour, 2 hours. You the nightmares is unbearable. Like it's like you're working again on your sleep, because all the faces, all the stuff that went on, it's like working. You're dreaming of your work again while you're sleeping. It's so sad. I never had that before, because this is the first time in my 40 years of nursing this happened. This is the first time that we have this crisis, which is really, really bad. It's really, it's unthinkable. I never thought that there's something that's gonna happen like this here in the world. I mean, a pandemic
Hmm.
like this in the world.
Right. I mean, that sounds awful.
I'm
Just all
sorry.
of that's okay. How um how in what ways do you feel like you've already said some of this, but how do you feel like it's really affecting you personally? Um,
Personally, actually, I almost quit, and personally, I almost quit because I cannot really. Uh, the most important reason is like I don't wanna I don't wanna die. I know that coming in there with my high blood pressure, with all the medications I'm taking, every time I come to work, I knew in my heart, I know that a little mistake or I'm gonna get it, because I'm 61 years old. I'm older. I'm on those, you know, that might get it and won't get out and won't, survive,
hmm,
because that's what they've been telling us. The scientists are telling us about it. People with comorbidity and people who are older, they're really, so that's the scariest part. It's like every time I come to work, I feel like I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna die, or I'm gonna give it to my family. And it happened. It happened. I told this to you. One of our closest friend was only 60 years old. He's a nurse. The three of them, the wife and then him and then his daughter. Luckily the wife is okay, but the father didn't survive, and then 9 days after, the daughter also passed away. So
hmm,
when that thing happened, I actually, called out that weekend, because I'm like, I think that's it. Like if it happened to a 60-year-old and a 29-year-old, it could happen to me too. So it's really, that's the scariest part. That's the one that affected me too much. And the worst part now is these people who are not following the rules. That
hmm,
one, at first, this is the one that bothers me the most now, is those people who's demanding everything, to open everything, to do this, to work, to have their haircut or this. It bothers me too much, Anak, about those people, that they have to have this done, this and that. It's really, and they don't follow the rules and they demand. I mean, imagine, they don't see it every day. They're not in the hospital. They don't see actual, they saw probably on the TV or whatever media is, but they're not there. They're not actually touching these dying people. They're not actually the one dealing with all these people. So they don't know how like contagious this virus is. They have to know. They have to really, my gosh, I'm so scared when one person or all those strikers on strikes, like talking without masks. Thank God the police or whatever, they have their mask. But it's a scary scenario, Anak, about this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to scare people, but if they're consistently doing this and not following the rules, we might have a second wave, but we don't even, we're praying we're not, but they have to really follow the rules. And I'm really thankful for all people who are, remember you said this first, before President Trump quarantine everybody, you're the one who said it first on your video last time. I think you did it March 13 or something, or before that, and then Donald Trump did it a week after or 2 weeks after. So I show it to
Well,
all.
I'm glad that I did it before President Trump.
You did, because my friends at work, they were like, look at your son. At least he did it first.
All right.
You did it first. I'm sorry. I have to say that. So it's
No,
really a
it's
nice
very
one.
disrespectful what yeah, it's disrespectful how a lot of people are acting. And what do you feel, you came to America with a lot of hope. You told me you wanted to come to America since you were 4. But now there's even this Asian American racism, like, oh, the Chinese and Asians brought it here. How do you feel about that?
Actually, it's really sad that a lot of people or some people are thinking about that. One of my best friends, is from China. I've known her since 1985. So you know her, it's Tita Francis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really sad what's going on, because she knows a lot of friends who close restaurants and everything even before the quarantine.
Mm.
It's like, since, because it's actually happened in December, and by January and everything in Wuhan. So, but in America, she has a lot of friends in Chinatown and in California that close their restaurants, because no one is like, patron. I mean, they're nobody wants to eat in those kind of restaurants. And they even have a lot of her husband who works in Chinatown. They even have to close their X-ray. It's a clinic, because nobody wants to go there anymore. And this is in Chinatown, because
Mm.
a lot of people, a lot of Chinese people are scared to even get out of the house, because they're being. Did you see that guy who sprayed in the subway to a Chinese guy?
Mm.
Because it's really, really sad that I don't feel like um I mean, because it happened. It's a virus, and it happened. It started there, but we don't know. I mean, it's not their fault. People who are here, immigrants, even citizens from China. I mean, it's not their fault. It's like you grew up here and everything. This is not your fault. It's
Mm.
because you're Asian American, or they're like, it's not their fault at all.
Mm.
They're citizen. They grew up here. They have their businesses here and everything, and now they're being affected because of what happened. It's not really fair for them.
Right.
It's not really
Uh,
fair.
I guess just to, end with some hope, what kind of drives you or what keeps you going? Because, there's a lot there and a lot to take in. Is there, you know, whether it's your faith
Oh yeah.
or just something like what keeps you going back,
Oh
or
yeah.
just keep going?
Oh yeah. I still the fear is not as bad as before now, because We have a lot of, even though we have, I told you about all our debts and everything, we discharged the whole entire hospital. We discharged almost 600 people. We saved more than 600 lives who were positive with COVID before. So that's a big, incentive for us. There,
Mm.
we have survivors. We have the one I cannot really forget is this 26-year-old, 7 months pregnant woman.
Wow.
We did everything because of the baby. So everything, she survived it, and the baby is fine. So
Wow.
that's what, that what keeps me going, Anak, knowing that they people also survived this, and we
Mm.
know that we did it because we helped them. So we could see in our hospital, we usually, if there's somebody who's being discharged in the house, we play Here Comes the Sun on the operator, like they played it out loud. So we were
Yeah.
counting all the time how many are being discharged. So that keeps us going. It's really nice because it's a deadly virus, but now we're learning how to, deal it better, dealt with it better. So we have a lot of survivor. We have a lot. So
Well, that's
so we can beat this. So I'm telling you, we can beat this. Vaccine is gonna come soon. We can beat this. But we have no timeline. We cannot really, but if the second waves comes in, we're still gonna be here to help them. We're still gonna be here to help them. It's still
thank
my
you.
dream. I mean, it's still my dream. It's my job from the beginning to take care of people with COVID or without. So I'm still gonna do it.
Hmm.
I'm still gonna do it.
Well, thank you, Mom. I'm very proud to have you as a mother, to have a hero, as a mother. So, um, and yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your story. It was very powerful, and I think it'll move a lot of people to take this really seriously, and also just to see how you and your coworkers and everyone who's doing, who's out there on the front lines is really helping and saving this country. So thank you.
Okay, no problem.